Greetings, welcome to another episode of Youth Unscripted, where young people's voices echo and resonate. Today we are peeling back the layers of a conversation that doesn't get enough airtime. The nexus between corruption and gender inequality. And we are joined by another young person in the room. May you kindly introduce yourself?
Hello, thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Nyasha Mafuta, a young person from Epworth who is very passionate about human rights, especially girls' rights, because I grew up in a community where abuse of women is very rampant and where a lot of young people are facing a lot of disadvantages when it comes to opportunities in key decision-making platforms. So I'm very excited to be part of this conversation, and I hope that we have a fruitful dialogue and people will learn something from this dialogue that you're having. So thank you so much for having me.
Interesting, Nyasha. You're very amazing and I'm liking your energy. So, as they always say, women's rights are also human rights. Can you just share with us your understanding on gender equality and just corruption in general? What is corruption? What do we mean when we say this is gender inequality?
Okay, so you know what, the thing that I really want to highlight is that people have this misunderstanding when it comes to equality, right? They think that people who advocate for women and boys to have equal opportunities are trying for women to be on top of men, but that's not the case. If we've looked long back, we have seen that a lot of young women and girls have been disadvantaged when it comes to opportunities. If we look in the even political sector, you feel that there is few women who are representing other women or other people in key decision-making spaces, which is what we are advocating for. When it comes to education, we need equality in education. It doesn't matter that a girl has fallen pregnant at an early age. We are just saying that even if she is pregnant, she should be able to go back to school and having a friendly environment that welcomes her. When it comes to workspaces, why is it the boy child might be paid $1,000 and the girl child is paid 250, yet we are doing the same job? So when it comes to gender equality, we are just saying we need equal opportunities in all spaces. It might be in social aspect, economic aspect, political aspect. That's what we need when you're talking about gender equality. Then on corruption, I would love to put it on this way. Corruption is when someone is abusing power or the influence that he or she is having that moment. So corruption, it is done mainly for the benefit of oneself, or corruption also involves the manipulation of the person who needs help. So it has more forms, right? The other one is bribery. So bribery, this is when a person takes money. It doesn't matter how you are getting that money, they just take money from you so that they gives you favors that you are supposed to get for free. Then we have embezzlement, right? Look, the person is now abusing the resources that are meant to help to help the citizens or a certain group of people, but they take that for the benefit of themselves. So corruption comes in many forms, but I just wanted to highlight those two because these are most common corruption that are really happening and they are mostly not being talked about or being reported. So I just thought of putting that on the table.
Interesting. You can see that the young people know the situations that are happening in this country. Trust me, myself, I have been enlightened. I think you did fair justice to unpacking what corruption is to you. So as they say that corruption contributes to underdevelopment of so many aspects in the country, maybe more specifically in the communities.
Yes.
How do you think, do you think women are affected differently with corruption in society?
Yes, very true. They are affected differently. When we look at I would like to highlight the issue of health sectors in the health environment. Women have different needs from men. I would tackle the issue of menstrual cycle. Men don't go on periods, but women do go on menstrual periods every month. I've known a lot of girls who have monthly period cramps, but then when they go to the hospitals to find even a parasite or a painkiller, they do not get that because the resources which were supposed to be injected in the health sector have not been injected for the doctors or nurses to buy medication that are needed with the females. You see, when it comes to maternal health care as well, corruption has been very rampant. We see that, I'll give an example of public hospitals, mostly because in the private they try because you'll be paying a lot of money. But in the maternity ward, you see that if you want the nurse or the doctors kuti vakubate zvakanaka, ufana utombowa pawo drink, otherwise unosunungikira pafloor. Understand? So these are some of the things that affect women when it comes to the health sector. And mind you, women mostly they are economically disadvantaged. Right now, I'm not only representing the women who are in the urban areas, but I'm also talking of the women who are in the peri-slum areas, as well as rural areas. Those women, they have not been really empowered, you see. So they do not have a financial backup, which is very strong, which means that when they want even to access justice, right, then the person who is in power might ask you to pay $50. And they do not have an income generating project. So they'll end up not having the justice which they deserve because they do not have the money to what? To pay, you understand? Then we can also talk of the issue of sextortion, right? Ayo namari but of course, right? Yes, you don't have money, but just give me your private parts, those things that you think are so special. Then I'll be able to help you.
Sexual capital.
Exactly. So you see that most of women are very desperate when it comes for them maybe to get justice. I witnessed a person who is into commercial sex work. So she was saying that when she is abused and she goes and reports to the police, right, that I've been sexually abused with my client. Yeah. Munanenga ati zvenizvo ini ndiri kudawo bonde, and then I'm saying kuti bonde racho ngati chiridya izvo wakapfeka protect. Then the person says handisi kuda izvozvo. After doing sex with you, he doesn't pay. Then I go and report. Then some of the police officers are not friendly. They'll be like, anditi ndo basa rako chiche kunyanyata sekurwadza. If you want me to go to look for the person, you say you see. So which is another angle when it comes to corruption. It's not only that I'm giving money, but you are also abusing like the body that I'm supposed to enjoy when I'm doing sex, but I'm now just doing it so that I'm even protected with the law, which is not okay. And we are saying it should end because it's now affecting the girl child, and we'll see that more of the girl child are going to have low self-esteem because they will fail to know who exactly are they, and they will see that the system is not accepting them to be in key decision-making spaces. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. There is a point that you mentioned that really struck to me about women having their menstrual cycles, which is not even a choice, but which is a biological thing. But then I had to reflect on, I think I've heard a couple of people saying that condoms are free, but sex is a choice and menstruation is a choice.
Yes.
What's your comment on that to our government regarding that issue that condoms, you see them everywhere? I mean, they're even causing land pollution. It's very difficult like to walk like a kilometer, 500 meters at least, and you don't see a condom. Either the plastic of it or sometimes even a used one. But women are really struggling. Our young girls in the peri-slum, like you said, they are not an exemption to menstrual cycles, but they don't have access to free painkillers.
Yes. So that's a very interesting and painful issue at the same time. So we have been going to budget consultations where few young people, few girls, women are contributing and saying, let us inject funds in sexual and reproductive health services, right? And then when you see the document now being released, they say we have increased 2% in the SRHR services, right? But then the issue comes on disbursement, where those funds really disbursed for us to have the sexual reproductive services that we really deserve, you understand? And then there are no like free platforms for us to go and ask if the money was disbursed. Did the money yakashanda here zvaifanira ichishanda. So let's go back to the issue of condoms and sanitary wear. As in urban areas, it might be better because you might get better sanitary wear for $1 or $1.50, right? But then, can you imagine a girl who is living in Lotito, a girl who is in Mutoko, anowanepi $1? Mukomana wake wakutodanana naye anotomigira tsubu. Understand? So kuti azowana $1 rekutaenda notenga sanitary wear,
that is very deep.
Then with the research that I did, you see kuti most of women are now using ndove, right? Some are using cloth, which is very dangerous because inozopedzisira vaitoti infections like my yeast infections, and later on you never know where the cervical cancer is coming from. And then, but when we think of condoms, they are so important, I wouldn't lie, because as young girls we are also engaging in sex and we would love to prevent the issue of unplanned pregnancies. But the same way that we are prioritizing condoms, let's prioritize sanitary wear. Let's prioritize marabs and shanswan waskana when they have period cramps, because some of the females are actually missing their classes because they have these very serious heavy flows and they can't go to school. So instead of some other people who are in power misusing the money, let us have in mind that what effect is it having to the girl child? If a girl child has yeast infection, it means that she needs money as well to go and get treated. And then for you to get treated, it needs money again. And maybe in the long run, you might need to bribe someone for you to have better and quality services. So corruption is affecting everyone, but at the same time, it should be gender sensitive, especially to girls and young women. Not even forgetting our grandmothers and our mothers. They also need those services. So yeah.
Should corruption be gender sensitive or corruption should just stop it all? But because I don't know if I'm getting you right. If you are saying corruption should be gender sensitive, I mean, that's another topic for another day, but what is your take on corruption? Should just corruption stop or should corruption be gender sensitive?
It should stop. Like we should just say zero tolerance to corruption. Okay. But then like for those who are in power, they should also have this heart that men can afford maybe sometimes to pay for them to have better services. But what of women who are not even going to work? So they should also like tackle both sexes. Honestly, tukukanganisa vanhu vangani because of this. Of course,
women matter.
Yes, women matter. So this is what I'm saying, that corruption should stop. For us to develop, corruption should stop. Resources should go where they are supposed to go.
Very true.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Nyasha. This is quite interesting. And trust me, I am just like, oh my God, wow. Young people know issues. And I would like to comment that this is a very interesting issue and it's very happening in our day-to-day lives in different societies in Zimbabwe. So what do you think grassroots movement, what is their role to actually help or to come on this discussion so that women are being taken care of, women are considered, women are included? As you were saying that women are barely included in decision-making processes. What is the role of these grassroots movements and you generally as a young person?
Okay. So I feel that awareness is very key. Because can you imagine a person who was born maybe in 2012, 2013, where corruption yet already grown flowers and whatsoever? They might think that it's good and that's the way the world works. So there is need for awareness because most of the people doesn't know the impacts of corruption it has on individuals, communities, families, and as well nation at large, right? And some of the women who are now paying using their bodies for them to get services, they might think that it's normal and doesn't know that they are being exploited on the things that they were supposed to get free. So there should be awareness, people knowing their rights, right? It should not only be written in English, it should also be written in all languages. We have Zezuru, Chindao. All the information should be written in the language that people knows. And I've seen the gap that you see that corruption is not only happening to able-bodied people, but even to young women and women who are living with disabilities, because they have not been a priority in advocating to have sign language communication for them to know these things that we are talking about. So it should reach and leave no one behind, right? There is need for us to advocate for change. When we talk about advocating, it should not only be written on paper, but when it comes to implementation, we should monitor and evaluate if these things that are written on paper are being really implemented on the ground. Because if we do not do that, we are going to see that corruption is decreased with 10%, with what so much percentage, but on the ground is that what is really happening. Then there is need to empower women. Let us empower women who are in different religious sectors. We might talk of religions that doesn't allow the girl child to go to school, right? But there should be community people who just come and bring the information to people. It doesn't matter from the religion that you are coming from. Empowerment should start even from creche, from primary school, so that when the girl child and the boy child, when they are growing, they know the bad and good things to do when they are in the real world. And lastly, I would speak of building coalitions, having strong coalitions that speak. I would say that I do not want to speak for the voiceless. Everybody has a voice. Yes. Even in the silent, they are speaking something, exactly. But we are just not noting what they are saying.
I think that for me, I feel like maybe that's a wrong connotation to say the voiceless.
Yes.
I love that comment. Everyone has a voice.
Yes.
People just have different ways of
communicating.
Yes.
Exactly. Even in the silence, right? They are communicating something. So let's build strong coalitions. When we say no, we mean no. When we say yes, we mean yes. That those coalitions should also be backed with financial support from the government. Because as women, when we go and advocate that you should inject, you should put funds on this and that. When it comes, when it's being put on social media, they say that we have given this and that. But how many people are benefiting from that? How many young women are benefiting from that? Especially when you are not affiliated to a certain political party or certain group of people. You will never enjoy the benefit of being a Zimbabwean. So we are saying, let's have strong coalitions which say no to corruption, and our voices should be heard at any level. Yeah.
Okay, so my last two questions blended in one.
Okay.
Okay, there is an aspect that I feel like it's very important that you touched on when you mentioned about women with disability. Mm-hmm. This is an intersectionality issue. Mm-hmm. As much as women are affected, I feel like women with disabilities are at the far receiving end of the inequalities. Mm-hmm. And have you, as a young person, as a young girl in general, been a victim of this corruption where you felt like this is now gender inequality manifesting in my life? Yeah.
My guy. Corruption has become our daily bread. You understand? Like each and every time there is corruption. So there's this time, how should I put it in a nice way? I faced the corruption. Yes, I faced the corruption. So I'll just say it in general. So you see that, you know, the first right of a person when you get into this world, you have the right to identification, right? So I've given birth to my child, and I now want to take a birth certificate. Or maybe me, I just want to have a national ID. When you go kuzvituba, kana usina mari wangu unovate koko ugomukira futi makuseni uriko ikoko kusvika wazongoburitsa $10 $20 iyo yekudhikiza kuti ukwanise kupinda chinyi paline. You see, this is corruption happening on the things that we have rights on. I should just have the right to identification as a Zimbabwean.
True.
Why should I pay? Why should I sleep in the dark? Kuti mangwana ndigozowana betri, mangwana ndigozowana ID. And along the way, kamane racho, you don't know who is going to abuse me. And if I abuse someone, it might be very difficult for me to identify that person.
The perpetrator.
Yes. And then, like, when you report to the police, there's this trending issue that once happened. Because we don't have fuel, right? Okay. So you see that these are things that will be happening.
That's terrible.
Exactly. So our corruption has become part of our lives each and every day. We have first corruption, even if you want to look for a place you could score. I've done 14 points, I've done 15 points. Guys, I've been reading all night for me to have this. And then the moment you know it's $100, you then get the place. So how many?
Yes.
So how many of the young girls and women are able to afford $100 for them to be enrolled in school? Yes. You see, then you see kuti we are going to have fair representation even in the educational sector. It's a lie, because when you can't $100 pamwe going to 2 months dango bata $5 yet. Saka it means chango pezira ndapinda into commercial sex work or even to go into vending. When at the moment you pinda futi vending machoka mutone ma struggles because let's say pane safe marketplaces that are going to be given to women, but those safe marketplaces are mareta acho indigwana profit ye $2, but mimi mkunditi ndibhadhare rate ye $20 or $30 a month. So ndotoona kuti pamwe pacho it's better for me to go in the streets. Ndapinda mu street march and tenge tingori tsomtsom ne police, you understand? Then ushona ushongotsongwa kakudaro kuti uzowana zvinhu zvako baby, you have to pay again, which means it has a long impact, especially on the girl child. I will speak lastly on the issue kuti most girls these days to go not vana a decent income generating side rakanyatsotichikiti, you see. So the moment kuti ndaita nomukomana wangu I get pregnant, I tell you that I'm now pregnant, the guy might run away. It means that I'm the one who's going to face all the responsibilities on that child, right? So it means I have to hustle for my baby to go to school, for my baby to have healthy care that he or she deserves. But then the little that I get, very power much, very influence, you are taking it away from me. So how are we going then to move as a nation? You see, it's actually better for the boy child that akatiza ankwansana nogara kumarondera and start a new life. But for me, I cannot now move from one place to another freely because I have a child who's looking after me. My family is saying you're now a mother. I'm also a mother. I'm also a sister-in-law. I'm also an aunt. I have a lot of responsibilities that I should do. But the little that I'm getting, mukumora, right? Yes.
Interesting. This has been really an interesting conversation with Nyasha in the room. I would like to say, and I hope you agree with me, that she's such a brilliant young person. So Nyasha, to the viewers that are watching us right now, what are your last few words regarding this issue to encourage women who are living in this Zimbabwe that is very corrupt or corruption infested?
Okay, so for everyone who has joined to have this episode, I would say that let's say zero to tolerance to corruption. At least corruption, because it is destroying the lives of the girl, the women, and also even the boy child at large. So I would give a recommendation that let's invest in research and documentation. The moment that we start documenting any corruption yaona ichiitika, what document as young people, we document, we make noise on social media so that people know that now people are aware of their rights. There is also need for us to have innovation and technology. We are now living in a digitalized world. Why can't we invest in having technological materials? Detector. Corruption, we have cameras, we have, like even anonymously, this is what's happening on the ground. And also I would encourage the government and all other people that are listening that we should participate in governance and developmental issues. We do not need mere participation, but real meaningful participation. When we say we do not want corruption, how many young people are then being involved when it comes to monitoring and evaluating what's really happening on the ground? So we really need that for us to end corruption, because trust me, if we do not do that, we are killing the girl child, we are killing our women, and when the world is ending, you never know where the girl child will be. So let's say zero tolerance to corruption.
I'd like to say Mashoko Makukutu, the 30 seconds has turned to 2 minutes, but This is very good. We have come to the end of today's episode, Youth Unscripted, where young people's voices echo and resonate. Tune in. What is your experience as a girl child? What is your experience as a young woman? You may comment, like, and share. See you next time. Thank you.